Here we are at hole number 1 of the fall major, and this is a pretty fun hole. Basically full top spin. I'm using an extra mile 6 just to show you lower level clubs will work. I believe extra mile 4 would work here. Full top spin, full left spin, power 5 ball. If you do have a big topper, you might be able to get away with a Titan if we have any type of wind at our backs, but if not, we'll have to try a completely different approach. Right now, our main goal is just to get past the trees so we have an open shot on the pin, as you can see we do here. We went 447 there. And our second shot could be a thorn or a hornet, and we're not going to be using much backspin at all. You're going to want to have a little bit, like at least 1 bar, just to slow it down in case you got a tailwind that's going to extend your ball guide. But beyond that, your first shot is 20%, your second shot is 10%, and hopefully you can get yourself an eagle here. It's definitely very manageable with this open of a fairway. Not quite, but close. Hole number 2, there's not really much to say here. Very easy shot to get a hole-in-one. Once you get it dialed in, you're going to want to play with your sniper. It is going to be a rough bump, and you're going to have to adjust 30%. We're going to go with 2 right spin, and the ball guide is going to go directly to the pin. And once we get this shot dialed in, we're going to be seeing a lot of these drop. I almost feel like this is a must hole-in-one type shot once it gets dialed in, because the people at the top of the bracket that are getting the medals are definitely going to be able to get in on this shot. Hole number 3 of the fall major. Our drive, we're looking at 0%, so that'll be an easy adjustment for most of us. I like full top spin, full right spin, setting up where the red ring is right before the rough there. Again, full top spin, full right spin, extra mile as the big topper could be used here, but I don't believe that we need all that top spin. I'd rather have a little more accuracy. Titan will be perfectly fine, and we just need to bounce over this grass without hitting it to be able to have the approach that we're going to need for our second shot. On this particular hole, we are going to want to bring the Guardian, because there is a slope on the back of the hole, as you will see. The second shot is 10%. So first shot 0, second shot 10%. We're going to be right around max club. So go full backspin. If you don't have a maxed out Guardian, I don't have a maxed out Guardian here either. It's definitely something that can be dialed in, and we don't need all 100% backspin, but if you have it, you might as well use it. And we're going to use the lip on the back, or the shelf, or what's the word I'm looking for? The hill. Yeah, the hill. To hopefully get it to where we could dial it in to drop. Slope. Slope was the word I was looking for. Just a bit off. This is another fairly easy par 3 if you know how to play it. We're going to be at max distance of the Goliath. You're going to have to tinker around to see which level we're talking about, but we are looking at 6 right spin, 1 back spin. Use that red ring as a reference point. And then we are also going to be using 10% over adjustment for elevation. Once we make this shot, as long as you hit it perfect and you have your lineup good, it'll definitely look good on your scorecard. We need these easy ones because there's some real hard ones coming up. Just a bit outside. Hole number 5 involves, I believe, a bit of luck, as I had to search through quite a few of my videos to find one where I did not make a mistake here. It's kind of a high risk, high reward. You could definitely chip it in with your Nirvana, but I didn't want to show a shot where I did that. I'd rather show a shot where I had a chip opportunity with a regular wedge to show you that this is doable. As you can see, I am using the big topper. I am also overpowering the club, full top spin, and this will give us a nice big bounce and hopefully enough strength to get down the hill. Even if you hit that tree, your forward momentum will still get you down there. And then your second shot, I don't believe there's any elevation when you're really this close. There might be a little bit, but I don't know that I actually played this with elevation. I'm using the rapier. Just about any wedge that you're comfortable with will be good. As you can see, I stretch it out so I know what numbers to go with, mid, min, max, somewhere in between. And then we just set up our approach shot to try to get the eagle here. So far, it's looking like a really high-scoring event, but there's going to be a lot of people getting stuck in the woods, and that's okay because 99 out of 100 times you will not have a tree in your face. And if you don't go through this way, it's not like you're missing a shot if you don't get it through the woods back onto the fairway. And as you can see, we just barely missed our approach shot. Hole number 6 can be a little on the tricky side. Again, I'm using the extra mile 6, so I'm going full top spin. If you're using a Thor's hammer, a big topper, or any other type of club, even like an extra mile 8, you might need to back off just a little bit because you don't want to go into the rough. We are looking at 20% elevation on the drive. As you can see, I'm going with a Titan, full top spin, then I'm pushing back up and adding at least 50% OP. But again, this is with an extra mile 6. I was just able to miss the rough on that second bounce. And because we have a longer shot to the pin, it's very important not to clip the rough there. As you'll see coming up, we're going to be in exact max distance of our sniper level 8. I believe I'm going to be going with full top spin, but a lot of that really matters on how far up you get. You know, you might not need full top spin at max distance. If you get a little closer up, you might be at medium distance. So depending on your clubs, a lot of these are going to change, but I think that this is it's a technical shot, but it's definitely makeable. I wouldn't expect the albatross, but when they drop, man, it feels good. Hole 7, the final par 3. As we're selecting our ball, we are going with a Kingmaker, but it is not necessary because as you can see, we're going to be at minimum distance of our sniper. 15% is the adjustment, and I'm using the red ring by the shade there at absolute minimum distance. You could use a Navigator here. You could use a Marlin, because one thing you'll notice, I'm not using any spin. And once you make your adjustment with 15%, if you can nail it head on, perfect shot, 15% adjustment, know your rings, you can get good results. Okay, I got lucky, but still. Hole number 8. Yes, another big topper. Yes, another cut through the trees. This one, however, is not nearly as risky as we don't have to overpower. We're shooting for a gap. There is a gap there in between those trees. I'm putting about the red ring, maybe a little bit of the blue ring on the sand to give me a great proof shot. We are making a 0% elevation adjustment. A Navigator will work because we are going full top spin and only 2 left spin. Just because I'm saying Navigators will work, you'll notice I'm using the Kingmaker because I want the best ball possible. But because it's so extremely downhill, you have an excellent opportunity to chip in with a wedge from here. So by cutting through the trees, once again, even if you do get hung up in the grass, which is a lot less likely on this hole than the last time we cut through the trees, I still think this is the best approach overall to take, regardless of the clubs you have, but you do got to have a big topper. Other than that, if you can dial in this second shot, not let the nerves get to you, you can get that eagle. Hole number 9, I feel, is the hardest hole. Here you'll see I'm using a power 5 ball with full top spin and full right spin. However, I don't need a power 5 ball. I made so many mistakes on my drive here that I did not want to overpower it. So you don't need a power 5 ball. You'll probably need to fully overpower a power 3 ball, but obviously we'll have to wait and see what we get. I'm not certain about putting that half ball of right curl on. As you can see, I'll be dangerously close to the rough, but I'm certain that I did it because maybe there's a slope or something to stay away from the sand on the left-hand side. But we will be rewarded. 385 yards is how far we went. And then more importantly, with the power 5 ball, see, this is where you would have to use the fairway and some topspin in between where there's the sand and the rough. So it'd be a lot tougher shot if you don't have a power 5 ball. Here we're able to do a rough bump, 0% on the first shot and 10% on the second shot. Hopefully our wind is in another direction because I am awful at adjusting in bunkers. And spoiler, this is not one of the shots that drop. But for a par 5, it's definitely not an easy hole. The drive is deceptively hard. I think at this point I was just giving up and saying, look, I'm going to stop overpowering it. I'm going to try to get it. And if you want to do the rough bump, definitely power 5, but a power 3 can work.